Hi, welcome to Crime Time. We talk about the strange and unusual cases, sometimes solved ones, but many unsolved. I'm your host, Rowan Wallenberg, and today we're going to be talking about the death of Paulette Gebara Farah. We start this case on March 22nd, 2010. 4-year-old Paulette Gebara Farah was reported missing. Paulette was a young girl who lived in a nice suburb of Mexico City. She and her family lived in a high-rise apartment. Her mom worked as a realtor, so this left little time for her to take care of her 2 daughters. So they had 2 nannies and 2 dogs. Paulette was born with a disability and a speech disorder. This made it difficult for her to walk without assistance, and it made it difficult for her to talk. On March 21st, Paulette and her sister, Lizette Jr., arrived home after a trip with their father that weekend. The mother, Lizette, just came back from a different trip with her friend Amanda. Her mother tucked Paulette into bed, like usual. Then, in the morning, when the nannies came to take care of the girls, they couldn't find Paulette in bed. They searched the room, searched the rest of the apartment, but still couldn't find her, and ended up calling the parents. The parents then called the police to file a missing person report. It was highly unlikely that she could have gotten out, seeing that she had trouble with walking without assistance, and since they live in a high-rise apartment. It was weird that no one had even seen her, even if she did get out. However, there was no sign of forced entry or struggle in her bedroom. The 2 dogs didn't bark or anything that night, so it was unlikely that there was an intruder. Social media eventually got a hold of the fact that she was missing, and it went viral because of her age and her disability. However, many people on social media criticized the fact that this got so much media attention because they believed that the case only got famous because it was the daughter of a rich family. Still, many people were searching for her. Her face was all over billboards, and there were many different search parties. However, through all of this, people described Paulette's mom as unconcerned or emotionless. A legal psychiatric expert even agreed with this assessment of Lizette. Police then took the nannies and parents into custody as suspects because they would give different conflicting stories to the media, and a secret recording came out of Lizette telling Lizette Jr. not to say anything to the police or she would be in trouble. All were released the same day without charges. The police even searched Paulette's bedroom with dogs, even though their main search was around the city. Investigators filmed a recreation of their search of Paulette's room. It's a tad bit weird because no one had asked them to make this video as evidence, and still, to this day, no one knows their motive behind doing this. The recording was also made at such a weird hour in the morning, 2 a.m., even though that they didn't search the apartment at 2 in the morning. In the recording, they point out sheets and pillowcases with blood on them, which they proceed to say proved that Paulette was beaten badly. Then, once they pulled back the sheets to measure the bed, they found Paulette. So 9 days after she was initially reported missing, her body was found in between the mattress and the bed frame. It was crazy how no one had found the body when over 100 people had been in there. It just didn't make sense how no one had found her. The worst part is family and friends, including the mother's friend Amanda, were sleeping in the bed throughout the 9 days Paulette was missing. It was ruled as an accident, despite investigators' previous statement of her body being beaten. The coroner said that there were no signs at all that someone had hurt or moved Paulette's body since death. Her mother was a big suspect in this case, with certain comments like, "If she's dead, I still have another daughter," and such. This led for her to get harsh criticism in the media, and led many trusted news sources to allege that she had murdered her daughter. The whole investigation led into Paulette's mother and father saying they think the other knows something about Paulette's death. These accusations didn't amount to much, but Lizette ended up getting a restraining order against the rest of her family and went to court over the custody of her other daughter. Overall, there was never enough evidence against either of them, and both parents said the audio of Lizette saying Lizette Jr. shouldn't talk to the police was pulled out of context. The father never went to the funeral service for his daughter because of Lizette. She said she couldn't believe he thought she had something to do with it. The couple ended up divorcing in 2014, and since the family stays out of the media mostly, except for Lizette, the mother, doing interviews here and there. Lizette Jr., the sister of Paulette, isn't really known what happened to her, as she's about 18 now and decides to stay out of the media. Hopefully, this case gets solved in the near future. I would hate for her case to stay another cold case. Well, this has been Crime Time, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode.